Our content is intended to be used and must be used for informational purposes only. It is very important to do your own research analysis before making any investment based on your personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with or independently research and verify any information that you find on our website or podcast and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. What's up, my future one percenters? This is Marathon Money, brought to you by Wincrease.com. I'm Cam Jones. I'm here with my boy Kenny Coins, and we also have a special guest, our boy Abu from Third World Investors. What's up, fellas?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Kenny, can you hear us?
Yeah, I'm right here, man. Man, I'm all in. I'm all in.
All right, man. So, before we get to our topic, let's roll into the market recap, because you know what? I got to pat myself on the back, you know what I mean? Because a couple podcasts ago, I said that, I found a new pattern that the NASDAQ and the S&P, they do not like to be too far away from 20-day moving average. So far, that has played out in my favor. You know what I'm saying? I also put my money where my mouth is, and bought some.
What did you which one, NASDAQ or S&P?
S&P. Well, both of them.
Okay.
So I didn't play the NASDAQ and S&P directly. What I did was I went cheap, and I played the UVXY ETF. So what I did was I bought when it was down at UVXY was down to like $8.20 or something like that. I bought $9 calls, and then like immediately after I bought the $9 calls, it hopped up to about $8.70, and I was up 30% just within 24 hours. So I was like, you know what? 30%, 24 hours, I'm out. You know what I'm saying? So I got out, but I should have stayed in, because right now UVXY is like, where's it at? Let me pull it up.
It was like 960, I think.
921 it closed at. So I would have been, even right now, I'd maybe be up maybe close to 60%, 60, 70%. So, but it's all good, man. You can't get mad if you take profit. But that's just what I'm seeing on the chart, and I'm gonna keep playing that both ways, on the upside and the downside, as long as I see it. You know what I'm saying? So if it work, it work. I'm gonna keep taking this marathon money. You know what I'm saying? That's how we gonna get it. What you see, Kenny?
To tell you the truth, I just started like I told you before, I just started like buying NASDAQ about a week ago. I was really not focused on it.
About a week ago.
You know what I mean? I was focused on the S&P, like I told you. You know this, for like past 2 years, I just been buying the S&P 500.
Yeah.
Since it was at like 1700. So right now, as you can see, my money has more than doubled. So, that's kind of more of my long-term goal. Like, I believe like the S&P 500 is going to be over 4,000 in the next 3 years. So,
man, that is a common practice here at Marathon Money, where we talk about something like, man, I doubled my money. Like, it's almost seemed like, you know what I'm saying, I'm immune to doubling my money now. I don't even get happy when I double my money. I gotta like quadruple it. You know what I'm saying?
Man, to me, it's all about, that Warren Buffett style money. Holding it for the long run to the point where you're making so much that, like, you got some old stocks that you forgot about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Because I heard he was on CNBC and he had some stock that he bought in like 1980 and like he said, he completely forgot about it. And it's like some ridiculous, like 40,000%. You know,
That was
and
my bad. My bad. Go ahead.
yeah, so like that's the point, man. It's like, you know what I mean, you gotta make such good smart investments, and you gotta leave them there for the long term.
That's funny that you mentioned that because I remember I think it was either last summer or 2 summers ago. You mentioned to me and Extra about MTBC, and at the time I think it was like $2 or something like that. And then I was like, man, I'm gonna throw some money at it. I think I had just some extra dough. I didn't throw a lot at it. I just had some extra dough, and I just bought it. And then it had popped up to something like $4 or $5, and I was like, oh, I looked at my account, and I didn't understand why it was up so much. I was like, oh, I forgot I even had MTBC. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude. I like, cause my account went up like 12%, like 12%. And I was like, whoa, dude, what made it go up so high? And then I looked at MTBC and I realized, wow, man, this thing is like almost $5. You
Yeah,
know
out
what I
of
mean? That
nowhere.
it's still in my account, man. It's still there.
Yeah, mine. I didn't play with it. I just sold it and bought it back. Sold it, bought it back. You know what I'm saying? As long as I get it for
Yeah.
a
I
cheaper
just,
price.
you know what I mean? I just bought that one time because when we bought it, it was like $1.89,
Yeah,
and we just bought it.
it was real cheap when we
It
bought
was
it.
real cheap. We bought it just for the sake of buying it because it was actually a decent company. You know, because just 2017, it was like $1.41.
Yeah.
So
So our boy Abu, who we have on, man, I was chatting with him before. We started recording, man. He's a pretty interesting cat. Uh, he has the same investment strategies that we do. He like to quadruple his money, right, Abu?
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying to be completely honest. I haven't done as much implementation as you guys yet, but I'm definitely on my way with it.
So, tell us a little bit about you then, man, so the people can get to know who you are.
All right, so my name's Abu-Bakr Jackson. I'm getting ready to graduate in December with my 2 year in accounting from Tri-C, our local community colleges here. And I changed my major from business to accounting simply because when I was in business management, I couldn't fully see myself, visualize myself in my work field. What would my ideal work field look like? And originally I just took business because I wanted to be a businessman, like you said earlier. Like people just naturally want to have a business stigma about themselves, no matter what they do. So accounting was a way for me to dive into the lucrative capital markets that my professor was describing almost every day in class, but it just would never click with me, like how important the information he was presenting to me really was, the history of the stock markets, why they were put in place and stuff like that. So when I switched my major, it changed my way of thinking, and I started following capital markets and was introduced to marathon money and things like Robinhood and just simple things like ETFs and high frequency trading and the Federal Reserve and just what they mean, just rediscovering them, even though I heard about them when I was younger in elementary and middle school. And that's basically it. I'm just a young Arab immigrant, and I'm trying to leave my community a little bit better off than when I found it. So I started a group called Third Road Investors, and we just do things like you guys do. We follow capital markets. We talk about investment strategies in terms of real estate, investing in your own small business, and not depending on becoming an employee, for the long term life. And pretty much anything but that savings account that's only given the few percent barely fighting inflation. So
Right, right.
try
So,
we try to put it in layman's terms and just help it not be so complex, even though it is complex at times.
right, right. So you said that you help different people in your community. So do they have any type of investment experience?
Usually, no. Usually, it's little to none. Usually, it's my dad and mom own a couple shares of something. They've been holding GM or they've been holding FedEx or something like that, or
Right.
you know,
Something that's not moving.
Walmart or something like that.
Yeah, I got you. So because I think that the hardest part for me, and I was actually talking to someone, one of my friends, PK. Shout out to my homie PK. She know who she is when she listens. But I was talking to her, and she was asking me some questions about investing. And sometimes for me, I'm not a real good like explainer of how to do something step by step. I just know how to do it in my head, but I don't really know how to explain it that well. So if you listen to our podcast about me trying to explain how to buy options, I'm pretty sure you were like, this didn't help me at all. But
Every
but
little bit counts.
but how do you explain to people how to do the basics of investing, like researching and then going from researching and looking to actually buying and how to buy? Because some people, if you say like, hey, buy the stock, they're like, how? You know what I'm saying? And then you got to go through like, well, sign up for Ameritrade or sign up for Robinhood. Then you look up the ticker sign. Then from the ticker sign, you buy a limit order and then you do this. But then they just looking at me like, I don't know what this stuff is. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. So I always tell people up front, Third World Investors is much more than just investing. It's for career growth. It's for helping people with resumes, helping them get the jobs, job interviews, and things like that. Helping them understand Medicare and Medicaid, helping them see a doctor and dentist. So it's much more than that. So I tell people if they want to be a part of investing in the stock market, there is going to be a lot of accountability and individual learning on your own behalf that you have to be willing to want to do from the beginning. So that way I don't have anybody who buys stock and is constantly calling me, asking me, why did Square go from 90 to 70 or why is this at that? Because it's like everybody, we're at an age now, me and my friends, where we're all in our early 20s and there is accountability and everyone's starting to see it more and more. There's responsibility. We can't rely on our parents and things of that such. Like I've always lived on my own since I finished high school. And it's hard to explain to people about purchasing stocks, but it's easier if you have some sort of organic relationship or trust about yourselves with them already, to where they know you're simply trying to give them information that's readily available to them. And if they are interested, that it can be very beneficial. So before I get into all the complex things about, what's in the S&P 500, I simply say, are you willing? Do you have free time? Usually it's always yes, people have plenty of free time.
Right.
Do you want to learn about capital markets and see how it can benefit you? And that's a good start. That's a good start for people to be like, I trust this process now. I can be patient.
Trust the process. Dang, I just had it. It ain't even gonna be funny no more. I was about to say dude for the 76ers, but I forgot his name. Dang. But okay, yeah, that sounds real good. That's something that I struggle with even on the podcast. I think Kenny's probably a little better at it than me. You know what I'm saying? But I'll try to fumble through it, trying to explain to people and everything. So, as far as investing, though, what's some of the best stocks that you have right now?
So, I currently, to be completely honest with you, I hold nothing. But as of recent, which is May, I held my watch list. Is probably gonna look pretty similar to yours, but the ones I have are Kron. I have Turtle Beach for that short spurt they had. I have Square, Netflix, MU, Amazon, Twitter, AMD, and Tesla.
Okay. Sounds a lot like, the marathon money fund, what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah. If only I would have held them longer and held them from the beginning. And yeah, it turned out a little bit better, but lucky for me.
We hold it. We intentionally hold our stocks and then we play option on them. That's how we do it. You know what I mean? With like Tesla, with Teladoc right now, I got an option trade on it where I have the actual stock. You know what I mean? I know Cam bought it since it was like $10, but I got in it when it was 22. So it's you know what I mean? At the end of the day, that's how we play it. Everybody does it different. Like Extro, he don't hold anything.
Yeah, he just do straight options.
Straight options. To me, I'm always thinking about the future. I'm thinking about like, okay, what can I do? Like, cause there's gonna be a point where we gotta sell Teladoc. You know what I mean? It could be 2 years from now.
Yeah.
We're not married to anything. We'll divorce you the moment you start going down. Just like that. I'm serious. The moment you get ugly, you gone.
Perfect.
We'll divorce you like that. So like so that's where we're kind of waiting for those signs. We're just waiting for those signs right now. So I don't believe Teladoc or Twitter. I believe Teladoc's probably gonna be in the 200s in maybe 1 or 2 years. Twitter, I believe Twitter is gonna be in the high 80s. Square, I don't even need to tell you about
Yeah, I
Square.
mean,
Square
yeah.
is kind of a given. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Man,
So
my bad. Kenny, you have something else to say?
no, man, go, man. You
Uh,
good?
my bad. Um, so Abu, I just want to get into how you actually explain to people uh how to buy stock. So I mentioned my friend PK, right? So she's asking me some questions like, how do I even get in? And then sometimes people, they don't understand, or they understand that you can lose money, but if you tell them like, you can lose money doing this. It doesn't, it can go down after you buy it. It kind of spooks them off. So how do you go into telling someone, hey, this is the first step you need to do. This is the second step. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So, well, especially with my group, since I'm exposed to like over 20 people now, it's like I have a document called the Terms of Association, which I give them after they do the request for affiliation. We interview with them and everything like that. And it's basically it's a thing where they have to initial on a document where it basically details the risks. The disclaimers. You guys do it all the time. You have to have the disclaimers
Yeah,
up.
little boring disclaimers at the beginning.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
We didn't have that before.
Mhm. So this is before they buy any. This is before they buy any stock or anything, and talk to me about, because I'm in no way, shape, or form yet a fund manager, right? I'm not certified. I'm not a CPA or anything like that. So I get them introduced to Robinhood because I feel like it's the most affordable way for anybody who has a lack of capital to trade. But I also let them understand that they can be exposed to stocks from any brokerage. You
Right.
got TD Ameritrade. You could even trade through Thinkorswim or Fidelity or anything like that. And I let them know why we use Robinhood, and then I'll send them the link, and then we both get a free little $5 from Robinhood, and that usually gets them started. And like I said, I've had like almost like 30, 40 people contact me about wanting to understand more about capital markets. Only a handful of them end up trading, but that's fine. You got to thin out who's interested versus who's not. And even then, you'll have people double back. Now that I have 6 or 7 people up on their portfolios, everybody's all-time charts are green, and now suddenly people are a little bit more interested. So
Right.
people to work with. So
You know what's funny about what you say? Like you get like 30, 40 people that's interested, maybe like a handful actually trade.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The funny part about capital markets and saving money and doing investments, either you do it now or you're going to do it later. Either way, you're going to have to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the moment you turn 50, you know what I mean, you got to figure out a way how to stop working. And the only way you're going to do that, if either you have investment properties or you have some type of investment business, or you have a business that you put money into that somebody's running for you, because that's all an investment. Or you trade stocks, or you do capital market. I know plenty of retired people, they make $5,000 every month from just trading stocks, and that's part of their 401k and their Social Security. That's extra money.
That's one thing, man, that I try to, or we try to preach and get across on this podcast, man, that everybody needs some form. You need to understand some form of investments. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's stock, whether it's real estate, whether it's, having your own business, because you can't work forever. And, we all know Social Security ain't going to be there. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Unless they do my idea that I had, you know what I'm saying, then it'll be there. But they don't want to listen to me. They don't want to cut me my check, you know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying, they will one day. But basically, you have to start somewhere. And it's no time like right now, man. We super bullish. You can almost buy anything as long as it's not, Sears or GoPro or something like that, and it's going up. You know what I'm
saying? Yeah, man. I just like I was saying, like you said, like a handful of people do it, and I don't know if you tell people this, like that's why I usually say like I don't really care if you do it or not, because I know either you do it now or you gonna do it later.
I'll
And
see
I'm gonna hear from you at one point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm gonna hear from you.
That third world investors thing.
Huh?
So they're gonna ask like, do you still do that third world investors thing? And I'm like, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, cause you gonna hear from that person eventually, because the moment they realize they can't work forever or they get tired of their boss, you know what I mean? The first person they're gonna call is, oh, hey, you still doing that third world investor thing? You still running Money Marathon? You know what I mean? Can you help me out?
Right.
You know what I mean? Still, it's, to me, it's like this stuff is it's a need. It's not even like you have to want it. It's a need, because if it was a want, you know what I mean, it would be a different boat. You could just work forever, and then when you turn 65, you set for life. But you know that ain't the case.
So why do you fellas feel like it's hard for people to get financial education, man?
Well, just off the forefront, it's just not a part of the United States, public education curriculum. And if you're like me, you spent most of your time in public schools, and we were learning about a lot of things, a lot of history of cultures and stuff like that. But it's like the most relevant taxation and general financial knowledge was hardly ever touched upon. And then the fact that the information is so readily available on the internet, it's just like, that's like, what is it when you have too much information? It's like no one's interested.
Yeah.
If it would have given it to us in school, like a little supplement, then people would already built a subconscious, the foundation for wanting to be interested. But hearing it on the back end, it's just like financial education is not interesting to people unless they are going in that field, or they feel like their job's going to be in that.
I like that you said. My bad. Go ahead, Kenny.
No, or you're like making some guaranteed money.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I told you that, oh, take this financial education class, you'll make $100K right after you leave. Mm-hmm. That's never gonna happen. Not even if you go to college. You know what I mean? You got it, Cam.
Oh, I just wanted to piggyback off something Abu said, man, and it's a statement that I've actually been saving because I want to get some type of educator on this podcast, some type of teacher, superintendent, principal, something. But I'm gonna just say it right now, man. He said that, in public schools or just in schools in general, we learn a lot of things. Basically what he said was we learn things that will not help us in the future, like history, the other cultures, stuff like that. Yeah, it's cool to learn. But one thing that bothers me, man, is, when I was in 5th grade, I had, they took all the boys in a room, all the girls in the room, and they show you the little video on like sexual education, right?
Yeah.
So when I'm 11 years old, I'm learning about sex, but y'all can't teach me how to open a bank account. You know what I'm saying?
They're gonna teach you how to open some accounts.
Yeah. I mean, it's people. We don't. Our community. Let's just face it. Our community don't need to learn about more sex. We know how to have kids. You know what I'm saying? People have it. It's little girls, little boys out here having kids at like 13 years old. So we obviously don't.
It can't be that hard.
Yeah, that's not a need. You know what I'm saying? We might want to change the sexual education part in the 5th grade to financial education. And I'm not talking about, buying stock and stuff like that, but the importance of a bank account. I mean, this is old school. I don't think they should do this anymore, but it's just something to say for right now. How to write a check, how to be responsible with a credit card. We don't need to know, this is where you put your thing in a girl, you know what I'm saying? And if you feel this way, this is what's gonna happen, you know what I'm saying? That's stuff.
And to add to that, not to cut you off, I feel very passionately about this. I'm not saying I could have done a better job with the education system in America by any means. I understand it's a very hard job. It's a lot of kids out there. But if you just look at this, simply the meal plan, the companies that they have the food contracts with, and we all get the supplemented free lunch if your parents make under a certain amount, that should be a direct indicator as to a picture of, where
our society.
Yeah, and the curriculum will lie thereafter.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't serving salads and smoothies there,
I don't want to deep, real far into this, you know what I'm saying? But I just agree with that. I think that it starts with the education system as far as uh educating kids at an early age just about something like this. Even how to feel, how to create a resume or how to interview for a job. Maybe that is a little too early for like 5th grade, but seventh, 8th grade kids looking to do something with themselves to make some extra money. You know what I'm saying? Basically what I'm saying is anything except don't do sexual education. You know what I'm saying? At like
If you're gonna
11
do
years
that,
old. You know what I'm
at
saying?
least add the finance part because it
Yeah.
costs to have a baby, bro.
Yeah. Oh,
Right.
And
exactly.
you know what I mean?
Ah,
At least do the finance part. You know what I mean?
man.
Because it
Somebody
at
was
least throw that together.
that one.
You know what I mean? Because I don't know what baby in America is for free. So to me, the education system, the way I see it, is simple as this, man. I think it's crazy. I feel like America does it on purpose. I don't think they just naturally just say, "Hey, look, we made a mistake." I feel like America does it on purpose because let me tell you something. If I sat down a first grader and I taught him stock market, how to when if you get like $10 every week, how to take only $5 and save the other five. Until I taught them all the basic stuff like we teach people on this podcast. By the time in 12th grade, you think he won't be financially free?
Preach,
It
Reverend
just,
Coins.
you know what I mean? That is, it's going to happen. 12 years of that is going to happen. But why would they do that? What benefit? You won't go to college after that.
Well,
You know what I mean? If you already know
I
how
think that you
you
should.
already know how to
You would.
make money, if you already know how to make money, why would you go spend 100K or 50K, 60K, whatever it is on school if you already know how to make some type of form of money
Well, I think
or how
that
to take care of yourself?
I think that school though, like college, I think that is some form of investment, man. It's like investing in yourself. It was one thing that my father told me before I went to college. At first, I didn't want to go because I didn't want to be in debt, that much debt. And then my dad, he was just like, man, you put all your faith in these companies and you will invest in somebody else's company, but you scared to invest in yourself. And he was like, that doesn't make any sense. And I was like, you know what? You're right. And then I invested in myself when I went to college, and I think I did pretty good for myself. Um,
Oh yeah, I'm not saying don't go. I'm saying like I went to college. I got an engineering degree. You know what I mean? But I do investments.
Mhm.
You know, but what I'm trying to say is that you'll think twice about what you want to really do
right,
if you had that education between, let's just say, the first 12. You had 12 years of just and you took at least one or two classes of that every year. You know what I mean? You'll think twice about, okay, I'm not gonna be a a painter and spend $80,000 on education because I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna be a what you call it, a writer and not make, but learn how to not make money, how to not be able to sell my books, or how to not make better decisions. You know what I mean? You get it. Most of these kids are taking these crazy, you know what I mean, classes, and then they're ending up with 100K debt, and they're still working at Starbucks.
yeah, yeah,
You know what
Exactly.
I mean?
Add on to your point, my parents have a middle school education in what would be Sudan, so it'd be like very elementary concepts, and still, they always had the entrepreneurial drive in them, just from like me being a multi generational family of shopkeepers, like just small
Yeah.
cigarettes and toiletry items and necessities and stuff. It's like they always had the drive to get something for a certain price and want it to increase in value so that they could sell it, even with the minimal education. So just like you said, there's plenty of different routes. You don't have to go to college. You could go to college. It's all like whatever mold, your family, your financial situation
Yes.
get into.
Yes.
And
That's completely true, man. Because I truly believe that, man. That like if a kid is getting molded to be able to take care of himself financially, mentally, you know what I mean, even physically, and he knows, okay, I know how to do investments, I know how to write a check, I know how to, like, okay, if I get a $10,000 loan, I'm not gonna spend, after I buy my books and all that stuff, take the 3 grand and go buy Jordans
right,
because I'm
exactly.
not really
Yeah,
that financial savvy. You know what I mean? I feel like if they took the time and say like, look, at one point you're gonna need that $3,000, and those Jordans won't help you.
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying?
Like my
It's like I feel like if somebody sat down and said that, like, see, to me, when people has like the entrepreneurial spirit, like your parents, those guys, it was like, I'm gonna take the education I have, you know what I mean, the little education I have, and I'm gonna make use of it. And that's what they did. You know what I mean? What America does is they tell, oh, we're giving you all the education. You know what I mean? You don't need to learn anymore. You go to college to get your degree, and that's it.
right.
And it makes no sense because every day you got to learn. Every day you got to learn something new. And that's the problem. That's why you get people like once they leave high school, they never read another book. So it's all part of the system, man. It's all part of the whole educational system. You know what I mean? I'm done talking about it because I can go on every day about this, man.
Yeah, I think that I think I'm gonna make the last point here, man, because we had that 30-minute mark. But I told my niece she hit me up and she said she wanted to start a bank account, and I just talked to her and I was like, man, I just quizzed her. I said, if you have $100 in the bank, how much money do you actually have to spend? And she was like, oh, like $20. And I was like, man, you well on your way. You know what I'm saying? I mean, she has more than that. I was like, but you can't spend the whole 100. You know what I'm saying? You have to have something left over for a rainy day. So if you have 100 in the bank, you might really only want to spend, like 60 of it or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't want to live check to check. You don't want to say, okay, now my bank account is zero. I can't do anything until I get, some other money coming in. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's one of the things that they need to add to, like we were saying a couple minutes ago, to the curriculum in the public schools, private schools, home schools, no schools. I don't know, but they need to add it somewhere because it needs to start early, man.
That's how you change a whole society, man. That's how you get a country out of debt.
Yeah. So Abu, man, it was great to have you. Let everybody know where they can find you on social media, man.
You can find me on Instagram at _ Third World Investors _
Man, we gotta get you a better Instagram name, man. People ain't you got.
I just realized that. I mean, third world would be nations that are underdeveloped who are going to be on their way to becoming emerging markets soon, and then investors would be all of us who never would have thought we would have been, but now we are. So, third world investors depicts the image of from minimal education to maximum education, and taking all the percentages in between.
Yeah. Yep. So _ Third World Investors _
Yep.
All right. Okay. That's where they can find you. Anywhere else?
No, that's pretty much it for right now.
Okay. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, anything possible, man. Anything. If I'm on it, my name is Camboni11. CAMBONI11. Also hit us up and join our Facebook chat. We talk a lot about different investments in there. It's a lot of good setups people talk about, stuff that, I've never really thought to look at and got into. I always mention Carvana on here. I was so happy somebody mentioned that to me. Came up on that one. So join our Marathon Money chat. And what about you, Kenny?
Kenny Khan 23. That's Twitter. That's Instagram. That's Facebook. You can hit me up on there. Shoot us out, man. Comment more people, man. Get more people on our talk in the group chat. Get more people to listen to our podcast. We're trying to grow. I appreciate you coming on, man. Third World Investors. It's glad to see other people out there trying to make financial education, teach people about stocks, and trying to make more money. That's the whole goal, man. Gotta make more money.
Yeah, and so, you know what, man? Before you came on, Kenny, we were talking, and Abu was super plugging Marathon Money. He said, man, he was saying stuff like, man, I listen to you guys, and
I was just telling how it is, man.
Doubled my money, it did this, it did that. I was like, man, that's what I'm talking about right there.
That disclaimer you was talking about in the beginning? You know why we had to put it? One time we got a big long like comment how this guy like bought Teledoc, he bought Twitter, he bought all this stuff, and then we usually never look at the comments on the podcast iTunes. And then one day I looked and we had like a whole bunch, and then people were just buying our stuff. And then I remember
throw the
just
disclaimer
like,
in there at that point. Like, come on, man.
At that point, man, I was just like, dude, we gotta throw something in there because if somebody loses big time, they're gonna blame us.
Yeah, so
so since then we've been putting disclaimers.
To be completely honest, economists teach that everyone should be, invested in their own self-interest at all times. So even if they did lose, per our word, they should understand they're going to lose out by not being involved in the markets at all. You're already losing out. This is losing out a little bit less.
Right. Yeah, and we always tell people to do their own research, but at the end of the day, people don't really want to do their own research. They just say, okay, this guy's making money. All right, I'll just buy the stock. Like I remember this guy the next day opened his account, threw 10 grand in it, and he called me and said, "Oh, what stock do you want me to buy?" And he had it. He didn't know what company it was. He didn't bother to look it up on Google. He just bought it off of my word because he saw me make some money.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's that's the reason why, because there's people that no matter what you tell them, they're gonna avoid the hard work as much as possible.
Yeah, it happens.
So it's just the way it is, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right, man. It was good having everybody on, man. Until next week. Peace.
Peace.